And we're back.
With another movie review.
Yes.
And this time...
I'm fidgeting. Okay, so on Christmas Day, I went to see Aquaman. When did you see it?
Just last week of this.
Okay, so fairly recently then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I took my girlfriend to see it because she wanted to see Aquaman for...
a friend of mine, we found a $4 theater and went and saw Aquaman.
At a $4 theater.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's still first run. Okay, well, this is going to be a spoiler review, but just real quick, what was your initial impression of the movie without spoiling anything?
I thought this was a well put together movie. Obviously, it does have a good amount of the source material of if you do know about Aquaman, but I think they did it right in that the parts that they changed was good for the flow of for cinema, for the regards of a movie, because there is that kind of adaptation of going from some sort of source material into some other type of medium. And this, I thought, was well put together.
Okay, so I think it was a well-executed movie. It was a beautiful film. I think it's a crime that it's not up for an Academy Award for special effects. Wow, what a mistake. In terms of the spectacle of it, holy crap. But as far as the movie itself, I can't give it more than 3 out of 5 stars.
Oh, yeah?
I was not as impressed as I expected to be. But we can get into that. I think it's probably we should pick the movie apart. But I'm just saying, see the movie. I mean, obviously people are. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. As of tonight, the movie has made $940.7 million.
You should probably say what day it is, so that way
good
people that
point.
are watching the video.
Fair enough. It is the 7th. Well, it's actually it's after midnight now, but it's Sunday night. It's the 6th of. It's now Monday morning, but I'm going to record this. But this of January.
Right. So
by the end of the week, this movie will probably break $1 billion. How much money did Wonder Woman do?
Let's stay on topic.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just wondering how it compares, because this is probably the biggest hit DC's ever had. This is the money they were expecting to make with Justice League. So it's interesting. Okay, so the biggest change, of course, is they got Jason Momoa.
Right.
They basically picked a Dothraki. He would not have had this part if he hadn't been a big hit in Game of Thrones.
Right, right. And, I mean, it's in one hand, kind of the change of having, his ethnicity within part of the movie.
I don't know if that matters.
No, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's that was definitely one of those changes of having this... Captain Fish Sticks, SpongeBob SquarePants, all the powers that SpongeBob has, talk to fish, breathe underwater, and make Krabby Patties, and, it's
When we were reviewing Justice League, we were talking about how what a smart move it was to pick him, because he was the hot property at the time. He's still popular. This has only continued his popularity. He's also got a successful show on Netflix. He's a guy who's going to fill seats, and that's really the only reason he's there. But he's also
it's to
a
be
decent
honest,
actor.
Oh yeah, it's to be honest, one of the things that I think I said to you was, I'm looking forward to this movie because of Jason Momoa.
Yeah. We also met him.
Right. I mean, it's granted, it was a very brief kind of moment.
Yeah.
But it was still enough of what a presence. I mean, this guy has not just a stage presence. If you get a chance to go to a convention, he just seems like one of those guys where it's he does seem excited about the fact that he is, doing these things. He's excited about what he brings to the table, and it's going around and signing people's artwork.
Oh yeah.
Or buying little action figures of himself to do whatever.
I was watching some video clips where they were he was being interviewed on one of the late night talk shows, and they had pictures they showed where women were hugging him, and then he was pushing the husband away, and he was the husband looked really mad. I'm sure it's all staged, of course. Everybody's in on the joke. Okay, so back to the movie. So you enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. Okay, so like it was like a 2.5 hour film. I like when movies are 2.5 hours, but I was talking with Luke about this very point, and he had told me what his opinion, and then I ended up realizing I agreed with him. Like, the problem I had with the movie is that it tonally changes too much, because like it's a 2.5 hour movie. It should have the same story for the whole time, kind of like in Fellowship of the Ring, 2.5 hours, right? With the full extended cut, almost 3 hours actually. But it's the same story. You feel like even though it goes from place to place and there's some major changes in setting, it's still the story of the hobbits making their journey, right? And all the people that join them on the way are part of the journey and add to the story, right? So in this case, you have this thing where at one point in the movie you feel like you're literally watching Tron. Another part of the movie you feel like you're watching Ice Pirates, like a 70s sci-fi movie. Other times you feel like you're in Indiana Jones. I guess.
I can see the Indiana Jones part.
I mean,
and the desert of
so it's the Sahara Desert, right? Like, okay, these people need to be moist every day, every hour. They can't get dry, and they're in the desert. So that was a major departure from the source material. But it's like there were so many changes.
It's like I did like it. It did give it kind of a feel of like the reason why.
We're in the spoiler
how the
territory.
characters. Yeah. And I mean, it's like that's that level of adaptation that works for one medium versus another, and why in this particular movie you had, I don't remember the other races, the 7 different kingdoms of
really only 4 because 3 of them are wiped out or whatever.
But anyways, I mean, so within the movie, there's several. They talk about 7 kings, 7 seas, seven
kingdoms,
kingdoms, and these. Yeah. And it's like I don't recall from DC Comics the different races.
They embellished a bit at that point.
And it's like I thought it was good for like the cinema part of like this universe, this version of it. And, it's like it's obviously not the Justice Friends version.
Well, and see, for me, I think they should have cut half an hour from the movie, like because you have this whole sequence at the beginning where he saves this Russian submarine, and supposedly right from Black Manta and his mercenary crew takes out all the mercenaries, lets Black Manta's father die, and then turns Black Manta into an enemy. Right, and in the sequence of events, you can kind of like you can understand where he is at that point, and then he comes back to he has his character arc,
right?
But he has like 2 character arcs. He has the I created my archenemy arc, and then he had the I have to become king arc, and and then you have the sequence where he rescues the submarine, Black Manta takes off, and then later on that submarine is used to start the Atlantean War, and you never actually see Black Manta get it back. It's like there's a bit of disconnect. What I felt like the movie would have been better served is if the entire opening sequence was cut from the film, okay, where with the whole submarine bit, right? Then you save that for the flashback in the second film, okay? Then you just meet Black Manta. They have the little fight. You find out that Black Manta sold the submarine. You don't need to see how he got it. Hold on. Sold the submarine to the Atlanteans so that they could trick their own people into going into war with the surface people. And then when Jason Momoa says that, I let his father die and I didn't need to, that's all you need to know, right? And suddenly you got Black Manta established well enough as a villain, and you could have... The actual sequence where his father gets killed could have been handled in a flashback in the second movie where Black Manta is the main villain, rather than a second stringer. And you could have cut easily that and then trim a few other goodies from the movie, like just fine tune it. You could have cut a half an hour from the film and had a much tighter story. But even with all that, like all the jumping around, the part where it jumped a shark for me, and it just where I
not the literal riding sharks.
Oh, that was awesome, actually. Riding the sharks was awesome, but no, like I was kind of along for it, even though it was getting really stupid. When they got to the Sahara Desert, it was getting really dumb. But like the part, like I was still in on the fun of the story. The part where I was basically, I was kind of done with it. Whereas where now they have the portal to going to the Hollow Earth part, like that was just one step too far. If they hadn't done that, I think I would have been, I might have given it 4 stars. But it's like I would have, I don't know, just that part. It's just too much, like. I mean, both me and Shannon, my girlfriend, we were like both literally like what the fuck is this in the movie almost at the same time, and it's just also I don't really see Jango Fett as his father.
Jango Fett?
That's like his father was Jango Fett.
Oh, okay.
And all the clones.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It just for me they were just like the story needed to be tighter. It needed better editing. You needed to. I mean, this would have been better served having an extended cut, and then cutting all this content from the film, right? And then have a tighter movie. But I mean, it is what it is. Like when we were in the theater, when the movie was over, people were cheering and clapping, which that was interesting. DC clearly has a hit on their hands. It's going to break $1 billion. There's going to be another one, of course. They've clearly found their stride. I mean, it's not a terrible movie. I'd say it's pretty mediocre, but I'm glad that they're doing this. This is better than what they were doing. I didn't hate the other movies, but they were. This movie didn't squander storylines like Batman vs Superman did. Like Batman vs Superman literally wasted 3 or 4 movies worth of storylines that they could have done, in that one film. So, we're probably going to see Black Manta as the main villain in the next one, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, most likely it's like, because there is a mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, mid-credit, because it's not at the end.
But that also gets to another gripe I guess I had, where like, okay, so you see all these news clips throughout the thing, almost in an almost a RoboCop theme style, right? And so there's this guy who's on the news, who's the nutcase they bring on, who's claiming that Atlantis is real, and nobody believes him.
Right, and I mean
that's like a little hard to swallow.
Right, especially it's like, in this world, it's already been established that there's a god. I mean, an alien.
There's
from
a Superman.
Another.
We know Wonder Woman exists. We know Batman exists. We had Cyborg. Everybody saw these people fighting.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. They even literally say, like, you beat Steppenwolf. If the Atlanteans know that Aquaman beat Steppenwolf, the surface people know he beat Steppenwolf.
Right. And I mean, it's like
those guys in the bar come to get selfies with him and drink beer.
Yeah, and it's like the way that it was established was definitely. This is not a prequel.
No.
I mean, it obviously talks about like stuff of Aquaman's past, but at the same time,
there are a few continuity gaps between this one and Justice League as well.
Okay, sure,
yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, I think it'd be fun at some point to try to like do another video where let's try to remember what actually happened in these other films and see how much we can actually pull out of our memory, like these wonderful crap films.
Well, the thing is he met.
But I mean, that's my point. It's like I don't really remember anything of that movie more than the fact of
really, because I remember the whole thing.
Well, cool.
Because he goes underwater, meets Mira, right? She tells him he's got to.
No, I'm talking about Justice.
I am talking about Justice League. He goes underwater, meets Mira. She has this little conversation with him, tells him you got to go fight, and he does. And then gets a trident or some armor from her, and then we end up changing it so that the trident came from his mother. And Lord knows where the armor went. And then she comes back to get him to fight King Orm.
In Justice League.
Yeah, in Justice League, he went to Atlantis and talked to Mira. And she told him, and it was a different Atlantis or something, or maybe they just met in some ruins, or whatever. But the point is apparently he's never stepped foot in Atlantis yet. We know that he went to Atlantis in Justice League. He didn't know Mira's name. He basically said, "Yeah, we've met before, but I don't even know your name." And yet they clearly knew each other in Justice League. So it's like, well, we'll see what DC's doing.
Okay, no. I sure this probably happened, but
what DC's doing is a soft reboot.
Oh, okay.
They're pretending the previous movies that they happened, but they're
okay, and then changing what actually happens.
They're making some changes to going forward. So Wonder Woman and Aquaman are and Shazam are going to be the new standard going forward, and then they'll essentially move forward from there. Like Justice League still happened, but they're going to
basically
be a little fuzzy about some details.
Okay, kind of retcon it. These attributes are going to change enough, and then this is going to be the new continuity.
Yeah, kind of like how there's a new Batman movie coming out, and we don't know if it's going to be Affleck or this other or some new guy, right? That hasn't been revealed, but it's we have a new director. They're doing a whole new story, and so we're going to do a Batman versus Deathstroke. And it was going to be with Affleck, but because of Affleck's drinking problems and stuff, that kind of got put on hold. The new director rewrote everything, so Deathstroke is out for now, and it's looking like they're going to do a prequel that takes place before Justice League to set up Batman going forward, like basically change Batman's past to again further retcon it. Anyways,
okay.
But
now, is this going to have anything to do with Teen Titans?
I don't know if that's in continuity with these.
Is that going to be on television or movies?
It's already come out.
Oh, okay.
They've already had their season finale. It was on
well, it tells you how much I'm in the loop.
Well, it's on the Warner Brothers app. If you want to spend the money, you can see it, which I have not done. No. The only one I'm interested in is Young Justice, and I don't know if I want to spend the money for that.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Sure, eventually.
No, you do.
Okay. Well, I've seen the first 2 seasons, and then they were on Netflix. So, the thing I'm the most happy with was Black Manta. Holy crap! I mean, like Black Manta was actually what got me to go see the movie, because like he looks stupid in the comic books. He's dumb, and I. See the thing about the Marvel movies that I was like always loved is they took these characters and their superhero, their outfits and their costumes and the whole thing. They made it work in a real setting, and here they are taking a character who essentially is retarded, like just looks stupid, and they treat him seriously in the comics, but nobody would ever dress like that, and they made it work.
Right.
In fact, not only do they make it work, they actually he tries to build the helmet. It doesn't work. It's like, I need a bigger helmet. Just to be able to handle the guns that the
yeah,
laser
I
eyes.
gotta say it's like and that's why I was kind of hesitant about like you talking about cutting and changing like the movie. I definitely did like the parts of Black Manta. I definitely liked his motivation. You know, like in this movie, so the whole setup is his grandfather.
His dad.
No, grandfather.
Right,
because his father's father.
No, I just realized where you were going with that when you said, okay, yeah.
So his grandfather was part of World War II as a Navy SEAL, if I recall
the
right.
equivalent of
the equivalent.
Yeah, the equivalent
right.
of time, yeah.
But I like the setup of like he's this war hero turned pirate because his own nation basically kind of turns his back, and through the generations.
Yeah.
Well, through the generations,
we have their interpretation of it.
Right, but I mean that's that kind of level of what happens within lore, or like as this group of individuals telling their story, and within it, it's like why they got up to their current level, and the motivation I thought was really good on like it was said before. Aquaman, doesn't help his father, Black Manta's father.
Well, because these guys came in and just committed murder.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's kind of like...
And Black Manta is like, well, fuck Aquaman, he killed my dad.
Right.
And it doesn't even occur to him that he was guilty.
Yeah.
of something,
But that's that kind of perspective of like, oh, just because we've done these atrocities, it's like now we need help, so now you're going to like turn your back on it, on us, so now you're my enemy.
And the thing is, Aquaman also became his formative moment, because he's like, oh, right, I just created this guy was already bad.
I created my own problem.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that problem almost fucked everything up. But the thing, again, getting back to where I think the movie, could have been tighter, is that there's a part where Aquaman is explaining to Merrick. She's like, well, who is this guy? Because they just had their fight with him, and he's like, well, I just, I left his dad to die, right? And so, if that would have been better, because in a narrative structure, the mystery of not having seen it would have made Black Manta a far more compelling character. Because see, the first time you meet Black Manta could have been when King Orm, you find out that King Orm hired him, to steal a submarine. Okay, so now you got the submarine here. And then by eliminating the beginning sequence, you eliminate the continuity of error of where the submarine, how they get the submarine back. Okay, so now Black Manta comes in and says, oh, you know what? All the reward I need is Aquaman. Let me kill him. And then now you have this alliance, and they hook him up with the equipment to make the suit. And you get this sequence where he's taking the gun apart to make the helmet, that's a little, okay, maybe he knows. But like, you can kind of just let that go, right? Because you didn't have this preconception that he's just a soldier, pirate guy, right? So it's okay, he's a techie guy, cool, I get this. Because the previous way you saw his character kind of didn't set you up for that scene. But if you just, okay, so he wants revenge, he's not interested in money, they give him the suit, or the equipment, he makes the suit based on what they give him, and he goes off.
No, it's like I can see your argument, but at the same time, I can also see it as, if you're not careful within those sequence of events, because like, doing that, going on backwards and filling in the audience, I've seen it where it's very successful, and other times where it just falls completely apart.
Oh, and it totally
it's
can.
like, and it's hard to say without like actually seeing it when it actually happens. It's just it could have actually maybe saved a little extra time and like edited some parts down to like for the overall runtime, but at the same part, it wasn't bad. It didn't. No. I don't know if that would have been a way to subtract from it or actually gain something better within the storytelling. And that's always the bigger question, is like, as storytelling, do you do it in that kind of content? And kind of like when we were doing the review of Spider-Man 99, it had a lot of like little flashbacks.
99, you mean
2099.
Spider-Verse. Oh yeah, 2099. Yeah, the comic. Well. The thing is that I think the reason why the movie started that way is because they wanted like a good opening action sequence to kind of get things started, and I can see that, because otherwise, your first sequence would have been him just meeting his dad and going off and drinking, and of course you did have the flashback with his mom, which could have been your opening action sequence, just fine. It's just that, like, for me, Black Manta is basically what got me excited about the movie. Okay. And now you have this character that you basically know everything about him. There isn't a character arc for him, because this character is never going to have a redemption arc.
Right.
He's basically going to want vengeance. So unless they can do something super interesting with him in the second movie, it's just okay. It's just going to come down to a fight with Aquaman that he's going to lose. Okay. And you could have had this really deep emotional arc for his character where you find out why he hates Aquaman so much in the second movie, and that could have been the character arc. That could have been the dramatic hook for the character. And so
no, I definitely get you in there.
What are they going to do with him now?
No, and that's a really good question. Is like motivation and thinking about like those characters that do fall flat.
And they have basically set the second movie up where it's got an uphill battle now.
I mean, the biggest question comes up is like, what is DC really doing? I mean, are they going to bring all this stuff together to actually bring stories of the Legion of Doom, but it's more. It feels like it's more going towards. There's going to be something with definitely Apocalypse.
Maybe. I mean,
Steppenwolf.
Well, what they're doing right now is they're focusing on standalone films, and they're
No. I get it, but I mean, like the kind of long game, or their equivalent of a long game.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I mean, the question comes up is like, what are they going to do with the villains? Are they kind of like they come in, they do their part within the contents of the movie, and then just kind of disappear, and it's more about I mean, it's like the difference of like say Marvel, you had Thanos as the real main antagonist.
Yeah.
Granted, there was various other villains. Some of them I thought were well put together and very purposefully within the films, and then there was others where it's like, okay, cool, they were here, they're done, and they don't have any real impact.
The main criticism of Marvel is that their villains keep getting killed off. Right.
Well, it's like not all of them, but no, yeah. I do agree. I mean, like, what's his name, Birdman, the Vulture.
Yes.
Yeah,
he didn't,
he didn't,
and actually, the director of Ant-Man revealed that the Yellow Jacket probably wasn't killed. Like he could actually have shrunk to the quantum realm, and could be stuck there.
Right.
So he can come back, which is cool. But like looking here, like we have so Wonder Woman obviously killed her villain. She had to. Superman had to kill his villain because there was no way it was going to work otherwise. In Batman vs Superman, it came down to Doomsday, but Lex Luthor survived and got out of jail, right?
Right. Lex Luthor Jr., right?
Well, we
in this version,
they're going to have to fix that somehow.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like
his dad might be alive. We don't know.
No, I just recall like hearing from somebody saying that was the reason why this is this particular Lex.
Well, what they need is to have his dad come back and have it be Clancy Brown. But like, okay, so now, but we had two villain characters in Aquaman, and they both made it through the movie.
Right.
Okay.
Well, so, it's like I really like the way that they presented Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought they did a really good job of.
Well, again, you have a character who's off the rails, totally so crazy and so determined that he will do anything to achieve his goal. But he wasn't really wrong, with what he was trying to do.
Yeah. Well, it just, I think it was really good because it was it was different opinions. It was a different kind of like, this is the information that was presented. Mm-hmm. Within the movie, you find out that the mother is supposedly sacrificed, and that was the whole thing with this. Mm-hmm. Land of the Lost that Woody was like
I was
complaining
unimpressed
about.
With.
I thought it was all right.
It was Land of the Lost, really.
Yeah, because they go through a rift and they go into this the hidden sea, and the hidden sea has dinosaurs and whatnot, and the Kraken.
It needed Sleestack.
Yeah. But anyways, so part of Ocean Master's like motivation is one of like, this is the previous way of every generation when there's various problems. We sacrifice somebody to the land of the lost.
Well, that was their punishment. They were sent to there,
but anyways,
but they didn't know the rift was down there.
Right, but I mean, it's like part of the mindset of like. In our culture, we don't show mercy. And, Jason Momoa says to Ocean Master of like, well, buddy, I'm not you.
Oh, but then that's what gets to another one of my issues is, okay, so it's like, how could this Atlantean civilization have escaped discovery all this time? Well, look at the Trench people, which were the horribly mutated Atlanteans.
Well, that's why the Dunch, in the beginning of the movie, there was a H.P. Lovecraft book on the counter of the lighthouse, I was just kind of thinking like, this is just so perfect because like those were very much deep ones,
right? But
like within Lovecraft's lore.
Well, they actually come from one of the comic books.
Sure.
A recent, but the thing is how could that race who are willing to come to the surface and destroy boats? How could they have gone undiscovered? They're just
they were discovered, and it's like the people that discovered them were a little crazy and mad and were put into asylums, or they wrote books.
Everybody that goes there dies.
Right, or they wrote books about like the deep ones.
I know it's just there's so many like this is one of those movies where you can't think about it too hard. The logic falls apart too easily. You just have to kind of accept it for what it is and move forward. But,
no, I get it. I mean, it's like I think to me, I was going in with the expectation of like this is a popcorn flick. This is just I'm going to either be entertained or bored out of my mind, and I don't feel like I was bored out of my mind.
I wasn't bored, but I was expecting a better movie than what we got.
Oh, I was definitely not thinking this was going to be Shakespeare in the Park.
No, but I expected it to be as good as Wonder Woman, and it wasn't.
To be honest, I like this better than Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with Wonder Woman. It's just I felt like this had Wonder Woman, to me at least, felt kind of like, and then come on, and then, where this at least had kind of enough of a pace and a feeling of like, okay, this is the next part, and just kind of shut off your brain, enjoy.
Yeah, I thought Wonder Woman was wonderful up until the ending. Like it kind of fell apart a little bit in the final battle, and I thought the scene across the no man's land could have been a little bit more dramatic, but like overall, pretty solid movie, very tight. Very just like the story worked. It was very well paced and very well edited. At least for me, it's just Aquaman was just all over the place, and I was hoping for a better film, better structured film, but we'll see. I mean, the thing is they're probably going to go, well, it's not broke, so don't fix it. So we may see more of the same. We're definitely going to see James Wan back, I'm sure, unless he doesn't want to do it. And we'll see. I mean, it's like again, my concern is that they essentially made the same mistake that happened with Batman vs Superman, where you basically blew your load on too many story possibilities in the first movie, and they now have an uphill battle what to do with Black Manta. I think that the really interesting thing to do with Black Manta might be to have it the basic story arc comes down to Jason Momoa beating him and he gets caught. Rather than killing him like he did his dad, it's like, no, I'm going to show you mercy because I'm not the monster you think I am, right? And of course, that's not going to help because he's never going to stop. But then he gets caught and put in Suicide Squad.
That could be definitely interesting.
And that's what happened to him in the comics,
right?
So I think that could be fun, and it's actually interesting. I don't know if we've talked about this, but after James Gunn got fired from Marvel, DC picked him up, and he's writing Suicide Squad, and people think he's going to be the next director of Suicide Squad, which that would be, what a coup, Hey, I think we should call it a night. It's we've just broke a half an hour, and some of us got to work tomorrow, and I have to finish a comic book page before I go to bed. So, final thoughts?
So, for me, I thought it was pretty entertaining.
4 or 5 stars.
I'll definitely give it 4 seahorses and, I don't know.
Yeah.
An anchor or something.
Yeah, it's a solid 3 for me. I'm afraid it's just, it's if it wasn't for the Hollow Earth thing,
no, I get you. I mean,
that was the part that just.
I am surprised that you're bugged by that. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just oh, okay.
Well, because the whole movie was just skirting the edge of my suspension of disbelief up to that point. It was just like one thing after another. It's like, okay, all right, it's cool. I can buy that. Okay, sure, whatever. Okay, sure, whatever. And if the whole movie's like that, and then suddenly they just say fuck it, we're going for it, and that's fine. But it was just one thing too much for me, But
you know what? I mean, it's like
it wasn't earned, But
I thought Ariel was very pretty, and SpongeBob did a really good job.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, it's like.
It's just there were just too many things where you just had to go, sure, why not? And it's like there's a suspension of disbelief, and they didn't do a very good job of keeping it going. Just too many things in the movie fall apart. Like I do not see that guy as. I mean, the relationship felt very genuine, but Jango Fett did not look like he gave birth to Jason Momoa. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, him as the seahorse that he is, and that how that species works.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another big question too. Is Jason Momoa superhuman because he is Atlantean or because he's Aquaman? Like, is he powerful and superhuman amongst those people? Is he a standard for that race, or is he something more? Because we know that that the ability to command the
fishies,
the ocean is an ability he possesses that's not native to his people. Right. They don't all possess it, but yet they never established Mira's control over water. Is that something she learned, or is that a superpower? Because in the comics, it's her special power.
Right.
But it seems like it's something she learned, but they never really say.
No, and I get it. I mean, that's kind of that level of, in comparison to the medium of comics and cartoons and television, there's obviously quite a different kind of feel to this movie. Yeah. In that it does have that weird part of like, for 2 hours, like, one, how information isn't really told, but at the same time, you still went through 2 hours.
Right.
But like within a television series or a cartoon or even a comic book series, you would like read about DC, and they would talk about like the metahumans. They would talk about like aliens. They would talk about like whatever the particular power is, be it magic or psionics or whatnot. And with that, it gives you a grounding of like how it's actually established in the universe, because it's going over a series and like saying, okay, Aqualad, learns magic and is able to do these type of things. Or as a metagene, this character goes through a traumatic event, and that mutant gene just basically spawns off and gives them zapping powers or super strength or whatever.
If I may, in the context of the movie, they do explain the anatomical differences very, very, very superficially, but there wasn't like that allows them to live underwater, right? They don't explain why certain things work, because like they can move underwater without moving their legs. Apparently, they're not actually swimming; they're just boom, right? They're underwater, and they also can talk apparently somehow without the need of lungs. And only the elite of their society possess the ability to go back and forth between water and the ocean. Most of them are just trapped underwater. Now, there was an episode of Because Science, which is a YouTube channel. Used to be part of Nerdist, still is, but now it's its own channel. It goes over the anatomical changes needed to live underwater like Aquaman, and that video basically lines up with everything they explain in the movie. So he would be stronger and so forth. But the thing is it doesn't explain for the fact that Aquaman clearly could take a bullet at point blank range and it wouldn't break his skin, right? And he took a plasma blast from Black Manta and was burned to hell, and that would have killed him. But he walked away from it and was okay the next day. Like you'd hit him with a sword and the sword breaks. Like he's durable as all hell, and that durability goes way beyond just I'm adapted to ocean depths, because those Atlantean people, they're not necessarily any more durable than us. Pardon me. It's late.
Well, but in one hand, they might actually be like, actually thinking about it. Depending on how far down that they could actually go, that could actually explain for it.
But not well.
No, the pressure.
The ability to resist pressure, and then there's like skin density.
Yeah.
Like.
I don't know. I mean.
I mean it's the thing is like, if I take a knife and I stabbed you, it would go through you. If you do the same thing to him, it breaks. Unless you use Atlantean metal, apparently. Right. But the thing is like, you go through all that, he still possesses all the same range of sensation, and It's like he doesn't have heart. You know, it's just one of those things where it's not really well explained. It's just, okay, well, superheroes, that's cool. But it just, I would like to know, is this Aquaman powerful because he's powerful? You know, because at the end, when he got the trident...
No, I get it. I mean, it's like, that's going to be either it's actually going to be explained in other movies,
Probably won't.
or yeah. I mean, it's kind of that level of, like, once again, I think if it was in a different medium, there probably would be more of a chance to actually explain it.
Yeah, because when he gets that super magic trident at the end of the movie, that enhances his powers. It doesn't grant powers, right? So he apparently, the idea being that he, of course, is the king because he has the powers of the ancient king or whatever. It's just, it's very clear that he's a superhuman amongst his own people. Where Orm, the Ocean Master, could fight because Ocean Master is more proficient, but all things being equal, Aquaman should have won because he's like half as powerful as Superman. Hey, we need to call us a night. So yeah, I didn't hate the movie. We've got a complete. Usually, I'm the one excited about the film, and you're like mediocre.
Yeah.
So okay, well, we're gonna call it there.
Yep.
But I still think you should go see it. I mean, it's making nearly $1 billion. I think it deserves it. I mean, this is a hell of a film, and if you're going to see it, that's the thing. I would not want to see this movie on a television. Like, we got a big screen of TV back there. I wouldn't, like, unless you've got a home theater, surround sound, the whole deal. Like, I wouldn't even bother seeing it. Like, if you're going to see it, see it in the theaters because it is a spectacle. It is worth the money. For just everything that they accomplished with it. Oh my God. I mean, that's probably the whole reason why it's doing well. It's not because it was a good movie. It's like somebody actually made this. Wow. Yeah,
visuals wise, I thought their level of special effects definitely blended quite nicely.
Yeah, why
I think one of the other things that was really nice about this is that unlike a lot of their other properties, it wasn't so dark and brooding.
Dudes were riding
so
seahorses,
dark.
And they looked awesome.
I mean, there were some night scenes, but there wasn't like this endless. What's going on? It's so actual dark.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, we're Thank you very much.
Yeah, go see Aquaman. Makeup. Yeah, you'll find out if you like it or not. Good night.
Bye.